If I was to tell you that God was the best salesman ever, what would you think about that? In this week's episode of Biblical Business, I'm going to go over Genesis 17, Abraham and the covenant of circumcision. And I'm going to explain to you how God is the best salesman. And he starts from the very first book of the Bible, Genesis, the beginning of everything. So let's dive into this. I don't have my notes on this, but it's okay because I very much so love this chapter. And I am super pumped to talk about it. And I don't really need the notes because it's kind of cool. It's like etched onto my brain and my heart. So Abraham and the covenant of circumcision. So when Abraham was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abraham and said, I am God Almighty. Walk before me blameless, that I may make my covenant between you and may multiply you greatly. Then Abraham fell on his face, and God said to him, Behold, my covenant is with you. You shall be the father of a multitude of nations. No longer shall your name be Abram, but your name shall be Abraham. For I have made you the father of a multitude of nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and I will make you into nations, and kings shall come from you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your offsprings after you throughout their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be God to you and to your offspring after you. And I will give to you and to your offspring after you the land of your sojournings, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession. I will be their God. And God said to Abraham, As for you, you shall keep my covenant and your offsprings after throughout the generations. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your offsprings after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign, a covenant between me and you. He who is 8 days old among you shall be circumcised, every male through your generations, whether born in your house or bought with your money from any foreigner who is not your offspring. Both he who is born in your house and he who is bought with your money shall surely be circumcised, so that my covenant be in your flesh, an everlasting covenant. Any uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of the foreskin shall be cut off from his people. Has he broken my covenant? Okay, this is a lot. That's a lot there. I would recommend you read through Genesis 17 slowly, okay? But when Abraham was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, I am God Almighty. Walk before me and be blameless, that I may make my covenant between me and you and may multiply you greatly. Okay. So when I first read this, I was like, that's cool. God's making a covenant with Abraham. We know this because we are, here. We've seen it, and we've kind of always heard about it, Then I was reading this slower, and this isn't the point of this chapter. This is not the point that I'm making here. But I think it is an incredible demonstration of how we are supposed to talk to people, especially in business, especially in sales. God here is just, he's like, let's break this down. Okay, so at the beginning, God's like, I'm God, showing his authority, his credibility. And then he's saying, walk before me. He's showing him the opportunity. Walk before me, blameless, that I may make my covenant between me and you. Right? And then he's going directly back into the benefits. He's selling the dream outcome here. Between me and you, and may multiply you greatly. Then Abraham fell on his face, said to him, God, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be the father. God said to him, my covenant is with you. You shall be the father of a multitude of nations. So then God is continuing to go into the dream outcome, right? He's like, okay, we're going to change your name because, well, your old name has some history and some like, that's not who you are anymore. Now that you have a covenant with me, you're different now. You're a new being, right? You're a new person. So Abraham is your name. Not super creative on that one, but God, he gets better at renaming people. Somebody told me that joke recently. Then listen to this. For I have made you the father of a multitude of nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and I will make you into nations, and a king shall come from you. I will establish my covenant between me and you and your offsprings throughout their generations for an everlasting covenant. I will give you and your offsprings the land of your sojournings, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And man, like he just paints this picture of like, he's like, hey, Abram, you're now Abraham. I want to make this covenant with you, man, and just hear me out. This is all the things you're gonna get, and like keep in mind, these things are in abundance of time. Like you're gonna always have these for your descendants. So he's like, you will be the father of a multitude of nations. You will be exceedingly fruitful. Exceedingly fruitful. I mean, fruitful is already an abundance word, but exceedingly fruitful is nuts. Like, what does that even mean? There's just so much we can't even comprehend. Kings shall come from you. I will establish my covenant. And I will make you into nations. Your offspring will have this land for generations, for an everlasting possession. I will be their God. Like all these things, he's like boom, 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 boom. He's peppering them with just like a ton of of these huge, impossible to imagine blessings for his life. So he paints this picture. He establishes his credibility, who he is, and then he's like, dude, I want to make you, fruitful. You're gonna have generations come after you. All this awesome, incredible dream outcome benefit stuff. And at the very end, he goes into what the covenant actually means and how he's supposed to carry that out as a man on earth. And the huge benefits make that sacrifice that Abraham is going to make seem this small. And so it's like, dude, of course take the covenant. Of course, bro. Take that covenant with God. Because everything that he's going to bless you with is so much bigger and so much more vast and abundant than the thing you have to sacrifice. So that, like, the whole thing I took from this in a biblical business perspective was like, when you paint the value, you paint the picture of your businesses or your clients, your prospectives' dream outcome, and you make it huge and attainable and achievable, and they can see the transformation happening, then the small pain point that you're going to address, or the price of whatever it is you're selling, it seems way smaller. So then they're like, well, of course I'll pay you $20,000 if you're saying I'm going to get, tons of blessings. Like, of course. And I do want to caveat this because, like, the thing is, God followed through on his fulfillment. Like, he fulfilled to the T, and all of these things came true. He had the abundance. He had the everlasting possessions of the land. He had exceedingly fruitful. He was, he made them into nations. Kings came from him. So all these things that God promised, they came true. He fulfilled on them. And so, is that true of what you're selling? Is that true of what your services or your product is? Because you can't paint this gigantic picture of success and like, whatever that is that you're promising your clients or your prospects, and then not deliver on it. So you just have to make sure you deliver on it. But then take this framework that God has given us directly from God, nuts, and apply it to your business. And if you do not see the fruits of this reward, I would like to challenge that maybe you're not doing it accurately, or as obviously not as good as God, but like you're not following the template that he gave us. It's hard. It takes a lot of practice, but golly, it's right there in front of us in Genesis. So it's super cool. That's this week's episode of Biblical Business. Be blessed. Stay humble. I don't know. All right. See you next time.